G'day guys, welcome back to Beyond This World. My name is Bailey. Today we'll be looking at, is Peter Thiel the new Jeffrey Epstein? This is another 5149 James Lee YouTube video. Now this guy's being demonetized. He's been basically fired from Breaking Points. So he's starting his own website. So give him some love on YouTube. I think he's a great, obviously content creator on all things that the truth needs to be shone a light upon, and to obviously call these wealthy 1% people out, because I think we need to be starting to get into a mindset now that we need to start eating away at the wealthy people, because they are trying to ruin the freedom and democracy that we live in here in the West, and it is starting to piss a lot of people off. So I wanted to show you this video. It's only like 6.5 minutes long, and let's get straight into it.
Everybody's talking about Jeffrey Epstein right now. The list, who was on the jet, the island, his ties to intelligence, how he died, if he's even dead. But almost no one is talking about the billionaire who is basically, I think, Epstein 2.0. And the person I'm referring to is, of course, Peter Thiel.
You would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would
Look at his face. Like, if that's not a guy that is lacking ambrosia, if you haven't seen my video already, go back and look at it. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I don't want to use the official name on this video, but you can tell that he just does not look well. Does not look well at all, and but he is very sick individual mentally, for sure, which you'll find out very shortly.
This is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit in this.
Should the human race survive?
Yes, the guy who is not so sure whether or not humans should exist. Now, some background on Thiel. He was the co-founder of PayPal alongside Elon Musk. He was also the first major investor in Facebook. Coincidentally, I don't know if you know this, founded on the same day DARPA ended their LifeLog program, which was a program sought to, quote, trace the threads of an individual's life in terms of events, states, and relationship. That sounds kind of familiar, doesn't it? He also co-founded Palantir, a data analytics and surveillance company used by many government intel and military agencies, including the CIA, NSA, ICE, and the IDF. Now, Thiel, like Epstein, has been known to host a sex party or two in his prime. Ben Goggins of NBC News wrote that Thiel's parties have been, quote, legendary in gay circles for years and repeatedly characterized as debaucherous, with Thiel himself being quoted as saying, "Yeah, we know how to have some no-holds-barred gay fun." Thiel has also been working on building his own island in the French Polynesia to basically establish a kind of a non-governmental colony. Now, just to be clear, there's no record that implicates Thiel in Epstein's illegal underage sex trafficking operation, but what has been well documented now are their ties in academics and business.
You know, nobody is talking about this. Peter Thiel, it's obvious to me that he fits in on that academic side of the Jeffrey Epstein operation. He worked with all of these people and he held academic symposiums at Little St. James, at the island. But what's so crazy about this that I don't think a lot of people are focused on is that there are many survivors that have come out now in the last 5 years saying that they weren't just sexually abused.
I woke up in a laboratory there one night, but there were scientists there, you know, and I woke up one night in a laboratory, paralyzed and naked on a table. They did something to me and they don't want anyone knowing about it. And I came back from there, I was hospitalized 10 times with panic attacks. And I'd been a very, very healthy, happy girl before I was taken.
That, by the way, was a clip from a new podcast that I'm co-hosting called Today-ish. Everybody should subscribe if you haven't done so yet, and we get into some pretty interesting things, including things that the mainstream won't talk about, as you just saw there, which I think also begs the question, what else were these guys up to on that island? Right, it has been widely reported that Peter Thiel has been injecting himself for years with young people's blood. Allegedly, he's been spending $40,000 a quarter on regular transfusions from 18-year-olds. Yeah, is it starting to make sense now? His his transhumanist vision and why he can't give a straightforward answer on whether or not he thinks humans should exist. Because I think if it isn't evident yet, it should be now that his vision for the future is clearly aimed at achieving some kind of post-human state where these elites ostensibly control every aspect of society. Which brings me to a company called Carbon, which is an Israeli-founded tech company that develops real-time surveillance and emergency response systems. They market themselves as a next-gen 911 platform with software that gives governments and agencies the ability to access your smartphone camera and mic in real time and integrates biometric tracking, geolocation, and live streaming into a single feed sent directly to law enforcement or intelligence hubs. And guess who funded the company? Peter Thiel, Jeffrey Epstein, and Ehud Barak, the former Prime Minister of Israel. Because if there is a group of guys I trust with real-time surveillance of the American population, it's Israelis and the guy who said, "I no longer believe freedom and democracy are compatible." Yeah, Peter Thiel, he really said that. Look it up if you don't believe me. Now, interestingly, last month, the New York Times published an investigation that showed in 2015 and 2016, Epstein put $40 million into two funds managed by Valar Ventures, a New York City VC firm that was co-founded by Peter Thiel. That information is new and has not been previously reported or publicly disclosed. I mean, just look at the web of powerful people that Peter Thiel is tied to, right? People like Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Mark Andreessen, Sam Altman, Stephen Miller, J.D. Vance. And what's also alarming is his insane reach into the Trump government. Just look at the number of people he's connected to in the executive office of the president. You have, of course, Elon Musk through PayPal, tying into Doge. You have through Palantir his ties to the Office of Management and Budget. He's also tied into the Office of Scientific Technology Policy through David Sachs, from his relationship with the Stanford Review and Thiel Capital, all the way up to the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, vis-a-vis his funding of his Ohio U.S. Senate campaign. So to recap, islands, check. Sex parties, check. Obsession with the youth, check. Ties to Israel, check. Intelligence ties, check. Influence over government, double check. But the biggest difference, and I want to emphasize this, there's a huge difference between Epstein and Thiel, and this is kind of crazy to think about. Epstein was more than likely just the middleman. Thiel might just be the architect. My name.
And what happens on that theory, which I really like that ending bit about Epstein just being the middleman. What if Epstein was just the middleman and they threw the middleman under the bus because exposing the people above Epstein would have been way, way worse? Because no one really knows Epstein, or he wasn't really a public figure, so to speak. His job was to attract and to get on board and to blackmail public figures to then use for nefarious things or stuff like that. But that's a really great point by James. I actually think he's on the money with that, to be honest. What do you guys reckon? Comment down below, like and subscribe. Is this what Peter Thiel's all about? You know, he's got ties to Sam Altman. As far as I know, Peter Thiel isn't Jewish. He grew up in a Christian household to a German father and a South African mother or something like that. So, yeah, very interesting lineage and his little web of people, J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, Elon Musk. Very interesting. But what do you guys reckon? Comment down below, like, subscribe. I will see you guys in the next one.